as Canada and a bunch of other countries you wouldn't think do, but nonetheless, Iran might be a better example. So if you're in Iran or China or someplace like that, and Facebook is censored, you can use the Tor browser to get around the censorship. And the way I mean, I don't know why. To be honest, I don't know why. I'm trying to think what the benefits are, like why they needed that, because really, once you're on Tor, it doesn't matter whether or not you're connecting to an Onion site or not.
I think, well, that's to help.
There was a reason for it, I think, but
I'm pretty sure it's to help the site stay hidden, because the way the Onion name resolution protocol works, don't the IP addresses change frequently, and that's why they have to keep generating new Onion files, because Onion files go stale over time, I think. Like, you don't go to darknetweb.onion, you go to darknet market with a bunch of garbage and then .onion. So I think that garbage changes over time.
I don't think, as far as I know, the URLs don't change for Onion websites ever. It's only if I mean, basically the reason that you click on links and they don't work anymore is because either the server is not up, or the person has abandoned that, basically abandon that, whatever it is, that link that you're trying to access.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not I'm not intimately familiar. I may have talked with and be friends with people who have worked on the Tor software. I can think of a couple of people I know who actually either worked for the Tor project or related stuff anyway. So yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with it, but I'm not I'm not a Tor developer. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting stuff. Yet by 2017, another site, the Alpha Bay, rose up to become far bigger than Silk Road had ever been. In a well-coordinated two-pronged attack, the FBI took down the Alpha Bay in July of that year, while the Dutch police hijacked the second largest dark web market. Hansa? I mean,
Hansa. I never even heard of that one.
I knew of the Alpha Bay, but I didn't know of Hansa. And I've never been on the Alpha Bay. I did access the Silk Road once. That maneuver drove Alpha Bay's refugees into a trap. The Dutch police had rewritten parts of Hansa's code to de-anonymize users, grab their passwords, and even install beacons on their computer. So what they're talking about is probably a de-anonymization attack. I don't...
Sounds similar to what they did with Playpen.
Right, so that sounds like a 0 day. I don't know how accurate the story is. There's been some less than accurate information in it that I've read so far, but the double takedown called Operation Bayonet was intended not only to ensnare dark web.
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,280. Silver at $14.33. And Bitcoin is trading around $8,685. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, over the Memorial Day weekend, the Transportation Security Administration made an important update to its website. Activist Post reports hemp-derived CBD products may now be carried onto airplanes, but only under certain circumstances. The update has been needed after the 2018 Farm Bill legalized hemp and its derivatives federally. The lag in an update has likely confused users of both medical marijuana and CBD oil. It has been shown to aid users in treating anxiety, arthritis, pain, depression, and more, and is being used with increasing frequency to relieve pain associated with cancer and cancer treatment. Prior to the update, the TSA did not distinguish between marijuana and hemp-derived cannabis products, stipulating that cannabis products were not allowed in carry-on luggage or in checked baggage. While the website states that some CBD oil remains illegal and that TSA officers are required to report suspected violations, it adds that officers do not search for the substances, but may come across them during security screenings. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Atlanta's City Council has voted in favor of transforming over 7 acres of vacant property into the state of Georgia's first food forest. The measure, which paves the way for the largest food forest in the country, according to Councilwoman Carla Smith, was approved last Monday after a unanimous vote. The Anti-Media reports the urban food forest will be available free of charge and will include edible trees, shrubs, and vines, in addition to additional community garden beds, as well as walking trails, public gathering spaces, and other features. The land, which is currently owned by environmental agency, the Conservation Fund, will be sold to the City of Atlanta for more than $157,000. The agency was in possession of the land after it was abandoned due to a failed business venture. Atlanta's Department of Parks and Recreation will oversee the property, and Trees Atlanta will maintain the urban food forest. Trees Atlanta has secured more than $121,000 in funding and plans to employ 2 part-time workers, including a forest ranger and a community workforce educator. Israel, on Monday, fired a surface-to-surface missile against a military site in Syria. The attack killed a single Syrian soldier, wounded 2 others, and damaged a military vehicle. Israeli officials were unusually forthcoming about why they attacked. The Anti-Media reports they claimed an abnormal Syrian violation of Israeli sovereignty earlier in the day, in which a Syrian anti-aircraft system fired at an Israeli warplane. Israel insists the warplane was in northern Israeli airspace, and Syria has claimed it was aggression against them. The air defense system was reportedly the target of the Israeli missile attack. The indication is the warplane was on the fringe between the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and the Syrian side. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Turning to Capitol Hill, House Republicans are considering their own version of the Violence Against Women Act. The GOP hopes their new No Punch Pretty Lady bill will finally help the party appeal to female voters.
No punch, no rape. Pass law. Women give big smiles at us again. Big votes.
Among its statutes, the bill would introduce harsher penalties for putting fists to women's face and proposes that if ladies smell nice like flowers, no smash lady.
And what if Pretty Lady Al-Qaeda? What if she death panel? What if she Benghazi? Yes, in some cases, punch lady.
In addition to increasing funding to shelters for crying ladies hurt from doing sex with bad guys, the bill also includes a clause complimenting the nation's women for losing weight.
And in other headlines, Lady Gaga kidnaps Commissioner Gordon. A man who likes to move it is still searching for the perfect song. And Rod Stewart is mistaken for an elderly aunt.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom broadcast, as always, from the Liberty Radio studios here in Keene, New Hampshire. It is May the 29th. I think it's a Wednesday. I'm not entirely sure.
It's a Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a day that I have to go to my other job. That's pretty much the extent of my concern in regards to days of the week. Of course, I'm your host, as always, Ari DeMezzo, composer of the music that you were just listening to. You can find out more of it at soundcloud.com/Aria DeMezzo. Joined in the studio today by...
Nobody, or the nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
And Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And I am very hungover, so it's not going to be the greatest show we've ever done. I'm not even very hungover, I just have a really bad headache. And I did take some Excedrin, so I expect it to go away here shortly. And, eating, drinking water,
I've got a studio bottle of
stuff.
ibuprofen over here.
Ibuprofen, it doesn't do it when it comes to headaches. I mean, it's good for like bodily pain and especially oral pain, like my jaw. I have arthritis in my jaw. When that gets triggered, ibuprofen is great for that. But as far as headaches go, I've never had any luck with it. Aspirin works wonders, though. Of course, the big news today is the guy who set himself on fire near the White House.
What? I hadn't heard this one.
Yeah, well, evidently, somebody is...
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire.
It is a fire. Now, this has also happened here in Keene, as I understand it. I wasn't here for it, but somebody went up to the city hall, presumably, and set themselves on fire.
Yeah, I seem to recall that was about child custody or something.
Yeah, that guy actually died.
He had been screwed over by the state.
The guy today, and the reason I'm able to laugh about it is the guy today was wearing a suit, and apparently he didn't hurt himself.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I wouldn't care if he did hurt himself. That's a really painful way to die. But you got to imagine that somebody who, I haven't looked into it yet, but somebody who pours gasoline on themselves and lights it on fire, they're accepting the fact that they're going to die. So I'm okay with laughing about that, if they so happen to die. So on the Ellipse, whatever that is, in downtown Washington, just across from the White House, a man set himself on fire. He was transported with burns from the Ellipse, and they're now assisting law enforcement, said the Park Police and the U.S. Secret Service. So let's find out what this man's beef exactly is. An unidentified man set himself on fire early this afternoon, actually, in front of sightseers on the Ellipse Park in downtown Washington. It's a 52-acre park that lies south of the White House and north of the National Mall. Man, they got a lot of fluff in this article. Do they get paid by the word?
Yeah, probably.
I don't need a description of the freaking park. A guy, hold on, let's pause. A guy sets himself on fire. They open the article describing the freaking park.
Yeah.
How bad do you have to be at journalism to miss the mark by such a wide berth? I mean, this is like the easiest story there is to write about. And instead, they focus on how big the park is and who manages it. Who gives a crap? Somebody set himself on fire. Let's talk about that. So a Secret Service spokesman, Jeffrey Adams, said in a statement that the agency's uniformed division officers responded in seconds after the male individual lit himself on fire. Officers then began administering first aid. The individual is being transported to a local hospital. A spokesman for the fire department said, I can confirm that we've transported one patient with burns from the Ellipse. Blah, blah, blah. Officials had no information on the man's condition. There's absolutely no information in this whatsoever.
Might be too early.
Well, it was very recently. I mean, I was sitting in front of the computer like an hour ago when I first saw the story. But also, the thing is, they probably won't want to say why he did it.
Well, that's entirely possible. If someone sets themselves on fire in the middle of Washington, D.C., and the Ellipse is this elliptical road that's right in front of the White House. So that's where all the tourists go to look at the White House. So it's a lot. There are huge crowds there. And if somebody sets themselves on fire in the middle of the day there, they're wanting to draw attention to something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he seems to have failed at that. Because, I mean, there's nothing about why he did this in any of the news articles that I've seen.
It'll come out in a day or two.
But, I mean, that to me seems like the most important question. And I have to say, the guy who set himself on fire, he sucks and he failed. Because, I mean, you should
Because he lived?
No. Well, yeah, in part. But, I mean, you should
I don't think he was trying to die. I think he was wearing a protective suit.
They haven't mentioned a protective suit. They mentioned that he had burns. but they didn't mention a protective suit. But regardless of that, I mean, he should have had some sort of sign set up before he did this, or a megaphone through which he was shouting, or just shouting to random people why he was about to do this.
Or,
that's actually a really good point. If you're going to do any kind of street theater, and let's call this, the ultimate street theater, even if not, the final street theater, you have to think about they are going to try to silence your message. So, you have to think about how to make your message unsilenceable.
The very least you should do is send a press release.
Yeah, if you put it on a sign that gets into the videos, then everybody who sees that video either sees why you did it, or they see the blurred sign and they say, why did they blur these signs? Let's find some footage where they didn't blur the signs.
Well, why he did it remains ultimately unclear at this point, which is unfortunate because that, to me, it does seem like the most important question. People don't ordinarily set themselves on fire. Yeah. When they do, there's usually a really good reason for it.
Doesn't happen every day.
Well, in other news, real quick, if you happen to use Flipboard, which is a news service that I actually do use, you should update your passwords right now, evidently.
Did they get hacked?
Well, yes, they had a massive security breach, and it left account login information vulnerable and access to hackers for over 9 months.
Wow. Oh, that's nice work there.
Now, I can't imagine anything that Flipboard would have on me that would be valuable to a hacker.
Reused password would be my first thought.
Reused passwords.
That's...
I guess I may have...
A lot of people do that.
They do, and I'm certainly one of them. But the password that I would have set up for Flipboard 5 years ago or whenever it was, it's not the password I use today. Because I do change them over time.
Yeah.
So for a year-long period, I may just reuse the same password, but after a year, I move on to something else.
See, I've found a new strategy for sites like that I only use infrequently. I'll log into it and I'll say, yeah, forgot my password. Have them send me an email.
Yeah, that works as well.
Change the password to something random. And then I don't even make any attempt to remember what the password is. I just know that next time I log into the site, I'm going to say, I forgot my password.
Yeah, that works.
And that's just how I get into that site.
I mean, that's certainly, especially for something that you don't use frequently, that's a valid approach.
Yeah.
Like, I have a Pirate Bay login that I essentially do that with because the number of times I've logged into the Pirate Bay, I can count on one hand.
Right.
Yeah. I use the Pirate Bay all the time, but the number of times I've logged into it is 0.
Yeah, I've never logged into it.
Well, you have to in order to upload things.
Oh.
I don't upload things.
I have
Ahoy, you
things.
pirate.
Oh, absolutely. I will steal any amount of intellectual property that I am interested in because it's not stealing, it's sharing.
Yeah.
It's helping myself to it, sure, but they don't have a right to restrict my access to it in the first place.
It's copying.
But to be clear, the only things I've ever uploaded to the Pirate Bay are things that I wrote, which I think is a good mark in my favor. At literally the exact same moment that Dancing in Hellfire became for sale on Amazon, it was uploaded to the Pirate Bay by me. Providing an avenue there for people who wanted to read it but didn't want to purchase it. Hey, I get it. Just read the stupid thing. It's available on the Pirate Bay.
And I can understand that because when I write code, I care more about how many people are running it than how much I got paid for it in the long run.
See, to me, it was about the availability and causing Amazon to become a sort of donation thing. If you like the book and want to pay for it, you can. Yeah, you just want to read it, you can do that as well. This is the call to freedom.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010. But now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 gigahertz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. Now, relevant to me, in other news, evidently, energy drinks are really bad for your heart.
Uh-oh.
Now, this should not be a surprise to... Yeah, right. This is like saying, hey, Coca-Cola makes you fat. It's kind of like, duh, we know that. We're not drinking it to be healthy. We're drinking it because we generally don't give a crap and we want energy more than we want to live forever.
Yeah.
But I don't even drink energy drinks. I drink energy shots like 5-Hour Energy, except I don't drink 5-Hour Energy because it's stupidly expensive.
You do the generic one.
Yeah, because the 5-Hour Energy, I mean, it's like $4 each. Well, the tweakers that I drink are not only larger, but they're 99 cents each. So it's pretty
Get your heart arrhythmia and save money.
Right.
Hmm.
So the same stuff that gets your heart pumping in the morning might just stop it altogether. Now, I do have one every single morning. Like, before I even smoked that first cigarette lately, I'm downing one of these energy shots. But it's because they take longer to hit versus the nicotine, right? But a new report from the American Heart Association reveals that drinking just 4 8-ounce servings of a typical energy drink can lead to a spike in blood pressure and cardiac arrhythmia. Again, duh. I mean, that's caffeine in general, is it not?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the whole point of this thing is to jack up your heart rate and get your blood going.
The findings, published in the Journal of the American Heart Association, represent the largest controlled study on the heart-related effects of energy drinks in young, healthy people. Researchers gathered 34 volunteers between 18 and 40 years old, which is a very small control group, was a very small study group, rather. Participants were randomly assigned to drink either 32 ounces of an energy drink or a placebo drink containing carbonated water, lime juice, and cherry flavoring, and told to consume the full amount in just 1 hour, but no faster than 16 ounces per half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a bizarre way to execute a study. I mean, if you want to actually know how energy drinks affect people, you can't tell them how to drink it. You just sort of have to be like, here's an energy drink, drink it as you normally would. Researchers recorded electrocardiogram and blood pressure data every 30 minutes for 4 hours following drink consumption. Using a rating system called QT intervals, the scientists measured the length of time it took for the heart's ventricles to beat again. An interval too short or too long could result in a life-threatening irregular heartbeat. The volunteers, who consumed one of 2 commercially available energy drinks. Now, hold on. I have never seen a 32-ounce energy drink.
No, me either. These are like
have.
little things that you pop. What is
Monster
it,
makes
2
them.
ounces or something?
Those are energy shots. The energy drinks are like the Red Bulls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have seen 32-ounce Red Bulls. You're correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've seen like
And Monsters.
I've never seen
16-ounce
32-ounce
monsters or
monsters.
whatever.
I don't know that they were 32, but they were at least 24.
I know I've seen 32-ounce Red Bulls. My brother-in-law drinks them.
Wow.
So the volunteers who consumed one of 2 commercially available energy drinks, almost certainly Red Bull, compared to placebo drinkers, they had interval readings that were 6 milliseconds or 7 milliseconds higher even after 4 hours. Now that really doesn't sound that major. In fact, it sounds like a pretty minor increase. But it confirms studies showing that sustained QT interval changes in vascular damage among energy drink consumers is a thing. Researchers also reported a significant 4 to 5 milligram mercury increase, Hg increase. I assumed that was mercury. It evidently is not. In systolic and diastolic blood pressure, which, again, that's kind of the point of energy drinks, is to get your blood pumping, get you awake, all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do the same study about people who just drink ordinary coffee and probably get pretty similar results.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if they'd done 2 control groups, done a coffee control and a nothing control.
I think they're incorrect. They say usually consuming 400 milligrams or less of caffeine should not make an impact on the heartbeat. Dude, 400 milligrams of caffeine is a lot of caffeine.
Oh yeah, that's wild.
That's
It's
like
almost
6 cups of coffee.
Yeah, it's almost half a gram.
Yeah. It's definitely going to have an impact on one's heartbeat to wake up and immediately down 6 cups of coffee.
Yeah, I wouldn't even do that.
No, to say it's not is absolutely silly. The energy drinks used in the study contained between 300 and 320 milligrams of caffeine per 32 ounces. So that is a lot of caffeine. However, energy drinks typically contain a number of supplements thought to boost energy, including B vitamins, some other crap, and some other crap, all of which can have adverse effects on cardiovascular health when combined with caffeine. I still think they're wrong in this allegation that consuming 400 milligrams of caffeine should not have an impact on the heartbeat. I'm not a health expert, but I'm almost certain that that is incorrect, because that is a lot of coffee. You can try it yourself. No Dose is pure caffeine. Go and buy, I think they come in 100 milligram caps. So buy 4 No Dose, whatever however many you have to buy, take enough to consume 400 milligrams of caffeine directly, instantly, and let me know how it impacts your heartbeat. Because your heart will be racing, you may in fact need a trip to the emergency room.
Sounds about right.
That's a lot of caffeine. I wouldn't even do that, and I've been drinking caffeine regularly and often for at least 15 years. But they found an association between consuming energy drinks and changes in QT intervals and blood pressure that cannot be attributed to caffeine, saying that they urgently need to investigate the particular ingredient or combination of ingredients in different types of energy drinks that might explain the findings. Well, I think the caffeine is probably the place to start. But for whatever reason, they're just waving it away as not that much of a factor.
Yeah, it seems like they are, but the placebo didn't have caffeine in it, so I don't see how they're cutting that out as a possibility.
What do you mean?
I mean what you just said.
If the
they
placebo
shouldn't have
had
dropped caffeine as a
caffeine.
possibility because it wasn't in the placebo.
That's an excellent point. It should have contained an equivalent amount of caffeine.
Yeah, if they wanted to control for caffeine, they should have had caffeine in the placebo.
Yeah, excellent point. They didn't do that, though. Maybe that'll be the next study they do.
Who carried out the study?
The American Heart Association.
Oh, okay.
Some government-funded crap, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, the big boys may not want to irritate the coffee and tea lobby, but the energy drink lobby is much smaller.
Not for much longer. Energy drinks are readily accessible and commonly consumed by a large number of teens and young adults, including college students. Well, yeah, I mean, life as a younger person is like just constantly having your nose shoved to the grindstone. I'm not at all surprised to find that energy drink consumption is more prevalent among people who are, let's say, under 30.
Yep.
Yeah. They're also kind of an acquired taste if you start drinking them when you're older.
They definitely are. It's like beer. To me, it's all disgusting. I don't understand why anybody drinks it and goes, man, that's so good. No, I don't think it is.
No, it tastes like crap, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah, that's why I prefer the energy shots. They also taste like crap, but they're down in an instant, and then I'm finished with them, and I can move on with my day. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We got other things to talk about in just a moment.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm. Oh,
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And before we get into the news, I would like to tell you about the Rational Review News Digest, which you can find at www.rationalreview.com. It's the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, aggregating stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and to liberty-minded people. They include podcasts, videos, news articles, and more, and they're now a source for people to receive the Call to Freedom's podcasts. So be sure to check them out. Again, that's rationalreview.com to stay up to date on all the happenings in the wider world. Now, there's other crap going on in the world today. Apparently, burnout is now a legitimate syndrome, according to the World Health Organization. This was not the only thing they did of note in the last few days. The larger thing they did that's of interest, I think, is that they officially removed gender identity disorder from the list of mental illnesses.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So this has interesting implications.
Now, that's distinct from gender dysphoria?
Gender dysphoria is a more deprecated term, but no, they're the same thing.
Okay, so they're both out.
Right.
Good.
It just became gender identity disorder for whatever reason. I guess it sounded less or more official, more doctory to say that.
Yeah, I mean, gender dysphoria literally would be just not happy with their gender.
Right. Well, that's essentially what gender identity disorder is as well.
Right.
But yeah, so the only reason they did it, and they made this clear at the time, the only reason they were keeping it listed in the DH5 or whatever it's called was because it allowed trans people to have their transition covered by medical insurance. Because it was a requirement, it was a necessary to be treated disease.
Okay.
And not something that one could opt into, or not optional.
Wasn't it? It was elective.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Because that's generally how medical insurance does these kind of things. Your medical insurance, it will cover, your liver cancer or whatever, but it won't cover your desire for plastic surgery.
Right.
Because that's elective.
Right.
However, by keeping gender identity disorder listed under the official mental illnesses, they were able to ensure that people's hormones and things like that would be covered by their health insurance. And they've now removed it, probably because of all of the people out there who they hate the World Health Organization. They hate what it has to say about vaccines. They hate what it has to say about world birth rates and all of this other stuff, and they reject the rest of it. But when it comes to trans people, no, the World Health Organization totally got it right.
Oh, yeah, because they agree with it.
And it's 100% proof that trans people are mentally ill. But that's not what the story is about. Not the one in front of me. There is a story about that, but it's literally only just 5 sentences, an announcement that it happened, and that's pretty much the extent of it. I've not found more about it. You would think that would be big news.
That is big news.
But it evidently isn't. The big news from Science Alert is that burnout is now a legitimate syndrome, which, I mean, that really tells me how credible this whole institution really is. That they are full of crap.
Why is that?
Well, burnout is a real thing, but to characterize it as a serious health issue is insane.
Why is that?
Well, if you're burned out of something, you just stop doing that thing and get on with your life. There's no need for it to be a serious health issue. You should
What if you can't stop doing the thing?
Yeah, I mean, that thing might be your career.
Well, change
kind of
careers.
happened to me, and yeah, I did change. I did change careers, but I would. I'd rather be back in the old one. Truth be told, I liked it. They paid me better.
Well,
I never got arrested doing it.
Workplace burnout has become a serious health issue in the modern age and has now been reclassified by the World Health Organization. Within the agency's widely used manual, known as the International Classification of Diseases, burnout will be officially listed not as a medical condition, but instead as an occupational syndrome.
Okay, what the hell is an occupational syndrome?
Yeah.
A syndrome that occupies people?
But is it like this going to be classified as like a workplace injury then?
Well, a syndrome is generally a set of what's the word I'm looking for? Symptoms that appear together, but they don't really know what causes it. So it's like it's almost like saying it's a UFO.
Well, included for the first time in the ICD's 10th edition, burnout was initially explained as a state of vital exhaustion. The international agency's new definition is a little more fleshed out. Drawing on a growing body of research, the 11th edition now claims that this syndrome is due solely to chronic workplace stress and should not be applied to describe experiences in other areas of life. So they are specifically talking about work burnout and not any other kind, which I think, if you're going to include burnout as an actual health issue, it seems like it shouldn't be limited to simply workplace burnout.
Yeah, that seems. I'm guessing there's a particular political reason that they did that. I don't know what it is, but
maybe now you can get workman's comp for burnout.
It does seem that's where it's going.
Wow.
Yeah. Of course, there's nothing specific about that within this article, but I imagine this is meant more to appeal to the Z generation and the millennial generation, most of whom have this whole, we're being sold this mentality of work, and it's destroying us and making us crazy and all of this other nonsense. So this is the World Health Organization is essentially taking that position and making it part of their diagnostic criteria. Saying, oh, okay, yeah, you millennials, you're right. You shouldn't work so hard. You're totally justified by health research to not work so hard.
How about don't work at something you don't enjoy?
I mean,
how about don't work for somebody else? Be an agorist.
I mean, all of these
I'll buy that.
All of these are good points, but it's not always feasible or practical. I mean, one has to have startup money in order to start working for themselves. Even if it's a small amount of startup money, it's still going to be necessary. And in order to acquire said startup money, they're generally going to have to work for someone else.
For some amount of time.
Yeah, but, you know, they also have to live and things like that, which will make saving up that amount of money difficult.
And pay the bills.
Yeah, because it's not like, you know, the random person can just save up $20,000 within a 6-month period and open up a restaurant.
Yeah, that's true. Got beer and lottery tickets to buy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I hate lottery tickets, and they sell them at this gas station I frequent every single day, and I hate it so much because the people buying these tickets are exactly the people you would expect, the kind of people who probably should not be buying lottery tickets. And it's just so depressing watching these people go in there, drop $20 on this nonsense, and walk out of there empty-handed.
Well, lottery tickets are it's like a tax on being bad at math.
It definitely is. I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said that lotteries are a tax on the stupid or the gullible or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I'm certainly not a fan of those. I'm also
I've heard an argument made, though, that that economically buying lottery tickets can be regarded as rational behavior. The reason being, it's almost like the opposite of insurance. It's like insurance is usually a losing game. On average, you pay more for your insurance than they will ever pay out in benefits.
Right, it has to be that way.
If you have a catastrophically bad experience, if you're the unlucky one, you get a big payout. Well, the lottery can be looked at as the opposite. It's still a losing proposition going in, but in the likely event you happen to be the guy that wins, it can be life-changing.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, some of these get up to billions of dollars. That's going to certainly change someone's life.
If you're investing if you look at them if you're buying thousands of them as an investment, that's crazy.
This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. There's more to talk about, and we're going to get into it as soon as we find it.
What did we lose?
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. And if you've ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them, or bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus, or just in general enjoy the power rush of being a cop without all the paperwork, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which you can find at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot someone over a broken taillight and then escape accountability with the magical phrase, "I feared for my life." You know, typical cop stuff. Get it now and use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So there's no excuse. Go get it. That's thinbluelinegame.com. Assault and battery is not included. But it's a fun little game, and I would highly recommend people check it out. Now, we've been going over a variety of topics here on the show, and I actually had not been taking notes, so I don't know what we covered initially.
Uh-oh.
But now we're talking about the World Health Organization. I found an actual article about gender identity disorder being removed from their manual of diagnoses, which is funny to me because in the article about gender identity disorder, there is a rather large and obnoxious video, as always, because they can't just give you text. No. They have to also include a video, and the video is 100% about workplace burnout.
Wait, the article's about gender identity disorder and the video's about workplace burnout.
Yes.
What is going on here?
Well, this is coming to us from CBS News. It's certainly I don't want to be conspiratorial or anything like that, but the burnout being added is not going to endear the right, the conservatives, to the World Health Organization.
Yeah, probably not.
It's going to leave them inclined to take it less seriously. And at the same time, it removes gender identity disorder, and both of these items are being presented to us at the same time. So they will remove gender identity disorder from its global manual of diagnoses, which CBS News characterizes as a major win for transgender rights. The change was announced last summer, but a resolution to amend the health guidelines was officially approved Saturday. The United Nations Health Agency released a revised version of the International Classification of Diseases that reclassifies gender identity disorder.
What is it going to be now?
As gender incongruence.
What? Gender incongruence?
Which is now featured under the sexual health chapter rather than the mental disorders chapter.
Okay, so if you have gender incongruence, you are not sexually healthy?
That is such a silly way of describing it. Good God.
Oh my.
Why do
my
they
head is burning.
I mean, incongruence, I guess, makes sense if you think about congruent triangles, though. Basically, because the whole issue is your soul and your body aren't the same shape. Isn't that kind of what it comes down to?
I mean, if you believe in souls.
But okay, personality, whatever you want to call it. But the person you became doesn't quite, fit in your body. It's your body isn't shaped. So I guess.
But wouldn't that be like sexual incongruence though, or bodily incongruence?
As opposed to, what did they call it?
Gender incongruence.
Gender incongruence. Yeah. See, that is.
I like where we're going with this. Bodily incongruence is more encompassing It's not limited to just trans people. It would also include fat people who don't want to be fat, skinny people who don't want to be skinny, people who don't like their skin color, all manner of people. It would be far more accepting, far more tolerant.
Inclusive.
Yeah, far more inclusive to simply refer to all of these conditions as bodily incongruence, which is also more accurate.
I think you've got a job at the World Health Organization.
I don't think they would ever hire me.
I don't think that's the message they want to project. They want to very carefully allocate things.
Gender incongruence is better known as gender dysphoria, the feeling of distress when an individual's gender identity is at odds with the gender assigned at birth. No, that's not correct, you lunatics. It's when your gender and your sex dispute. You're not assigned a gender at birth. You're assigned a sex at birth. Your gender develops in accordance with the sex you were assigned, but it's not exactly the same thing. You can have boys who were assigned boy at birth end up playing with Barbie dolls and wearing dresses and things like that. That's their gender, not necessarily related to their sex, but their gender is quite clearly not simply boy. So they're confusing gender and sex here because it's true I would characterize gender dysphoria as when an individual's gender identity is at odds with their birth sex. But you're not assigned a gender at birth. That's something that develops slowly over time by your parents who push you toward this particular set of activities or that particular set of activities based largely on the sex you were assigned at birth.
That's how it happens.
An evolving scientific understanding of gender and work by transgender advocates have contributed to the reclassification. Yeah, well, a lot of them are stupid and don't know the difference even between transgender and transsexual, and yet they're out there campaigning for the World Health Organization to change things. And they fell at that very first hurdle. And they don't seem to like it when I point out to them that transsexualism is still a thing and that it's not the same thing as transgenderism, even though they're readily willing to admit that gender and sex are not the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it would follow that transgenderism and transsexualism are not the same thing.
Makes perfect sense to me, but what do I know?
Yeah, we're not lunatics, though. They certainly are. So the World Health Organization's removal of gender identity disorder from its diagnostic manual will have a liberating effect on transgender people worldwide.
And how is that?
Well, I don't know. It's incorrect. First of all, they didn't remove it from its diagnostic manual. They renamed it and moved it elsewhere.
Yeah, they put it in another section.
It's still there. Now now the same people who have been saying, oh, look, it's clearly a mental illness because the World Health Organization said so, are just going to look, you have sexual issues. It's a fact because the WHO said so. Well, the LGBT rights director at Human Rights Watch said in a statement Monday that governments should swiftly reform national medical systems and laws that require this now officially outdated diagnosis. Now, time out. Governments don't swiftly do anything.
No, they usually don't.
So if you're oh, here's an interesting link I absolutely have to click. The types of transgender you haven't heard of.
Uh-oh.
So in the year 2017, most of us probably think of what it means. We know what it means to be transgender. Yeah, well, they're wrong. They're confusing transgender and transsexualism, and this is the very first thing this freaking article does. We watched as Bruce Jenner transitioned to Caitlyn. Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, is transsexual, not transgender. So already this article is incorrect. Oh, it's just about non-binary people. That's all the article is about.
Oh, well.
Who hasn't heard of non-binary people? What do they think the freaking Q stands for?
One guy in the Twitch chat probably hasn't, but...
Well, yeah,
I thought it stood for queer.
It does. Gender queer, gender non-binary, they're synonyms as far as I'm aware.
More or less.
Okay. I never knew what that meant.
What's that, gender queer or gender non-binary?
Exactly.
It means I'm a special little snowflake, and I refuse to fall into any of your categorizations, which I agree with in theory, but gender is a useful social construct. That's why we constructed it. And hey, if you want to exclude yourself from that particular dichotomy, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But don't expect me to just respect it. Right. Yep. Making lots of friends here today.
Interesting.
You said it. I'm just sitting here staring at you.
Well, I mean, it's just like the trans people out there who have beards and don't shave their legs and things like that. Don't even wear dresses because, well, women don't have to wear makeup. Women don't have to shave their faces. I'm a feminist and a trans person, right? It creates this conflict. And there's lots of people out there doing this.
Well,
if you're a person with a facial beard and you're calling yourself a woman, I'm sorry, I'm not going to respect that.
Okay, what if you have a vagina and a beard and you call yourself a woman? Because that happens too.
Sure.
I mean, there are women who grow facial hair.
There certainly are.
Especially in there are places.
Right. And I mean, that's exactly these people's argument, is that some women do, in fact, have beards, so they shouldn't have to shave theirs. I would agree, but the whole point of transsexualism and transgenderism is to conform to the stereotypes of the opposite gender or the opposite sex. It's not to redefine them, it's to conform to them.
Are you trying to make a political point, or are you just trying to be yourself?
Excellent question. I don't think they know. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. There's lots more to get into today, and we're going to because we don't really care what people think.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.fm running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.fm comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,280, silver at $14.33, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,685. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, over the Memorial Day weekend, the Transportation Security Administration made an important update to its website. Activist Post reports hemp-derived CBD products may now be carried onto airplanes, but only under certain circumstances. The update has been needed after the 2018 Farm Bill legalized hemp and its derivatives federally. The lag in an update has likely confused users of both medical marijuana and CBD oil. It has been shown to aid users in treating anxiety, arthritis, pain, depression, and more, and is being used with increasing frequency to relieve pain associated with cancer and cancer treatment. Prior to the update, the TSA did not distinguish between marijuana and hemp-derived cannabis products, stipulating that cannabis products were not allowed in carry-on luggage or in checked baggage. While the website states that some CBD oil remains illegal and that TSA officers are required to report suspected violations, it adds that officers do not search for the substances, but may come across them during security screenings. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Atlanta's City Council has voted in favor of transforming over 7 acres of vacant property into the state of Georgia's first food forest. The measure, which paves the way for the largest food forest in the country, according to Councilwoman Carla Smith, was approved last Monday after a unanimous vote. The Anti-Media reports the urban food forest will be available free of charge and will include edible trees, shrubs, and vines, in addition to additional community garden beds, as well as walking trails, public gathering spaces, and other features. The land, which is currently owned by environmental agency, the Conservation Fund, will be sold to the City of Atlanta for more than $157,000. The agency was in possession of the land after it was abandoned due to a failed business venture. Atlanta's Department of Parks and Recreation will oversee the property, and Trees Atlanta will maintain the urban food forest. Trees Atlanta has secured more than $121,000 in funding and plans to employ 2 part-time workers, including a forest ranger and a community workforce educator. Israel, on Monday, fired a surface-to-surface missile against a military site in Syria. The attack killed a single Syrian soldier, wounded 2 others, and damaged a military vehicle. Israeli officials were unusually forthcoming about why they attacked. The Anti-Media reports they claimed an abnormal Syrian violation of Israeli sovereignty earlier in the day, in which a Syrian anti-aircraft system fired at an Israeli warplane. Israel insists the warplane was in northern Israeli airspace, and Syria has claimed it was aggression against them. The air defense system was reportedly the target of the Israeli missile attack. The indication is the warplane was on the fringe between the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and the Syrian side. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Now, how much money will all those closeted Republican convention goers bring into the city, Marie?
A lot. The average area prostitute normally makes around $200 to $300 a week jerking off truck drivers behind the bus station.
I see.
Next week, they are expecting to make 30 times that amount sucking off secretly gay Republicans.
Wow.
You figure the fact that these delegates are so repressed and filled with self-hatred,
yes,
they tend to like the filthiest, kinkiest sex acts imaginable.
Oh, that's
which
right.
tends to cost more. The average well-adjusted gay man has no desire to smear fecal matter all over his partner's face or be beat up by him. But that is exactly the sort of thing that these repressed conservatives are willing to pay top dollar for.
Okay, as well as the services of transsexuals, I understand.
Yes. A lot of the Republicans repeatedly call the prostitutes faggots or start crying after they've had sex with them.
I suppose the prostitutes are shoring up on their politics so they can talk to the Republicans.
Ha ha, Andrea, what do you think this is, Pretty Woman? They're just there to get
right. Thank you, Marie Byron.
RNC's always a good time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. As always, I'm your host, Aria DiMezzo, author of Beyond Words and Labels, slated for a mid-July release, so be sure to check back for that. It's going to be not very popular, I would imagine, because it's a philosophy book. I imagine it's not going to be like a New York Times bestseller or anything like that, but it's fascinating, I think, and it operates under, essentially what is Socratic logic. The most important thing in any discussion is the definition of what we're discussing. And it's all about how these various definitions that we use are inherently deceitful, and how we have to move beyond these words and these labels for these things in order to understand what reality actually is. So I think it's going to be fascinating. I think it is fascinating. That's mid-July. Be sure to check it out. Joined in the studio today by...
the nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
Right, and Michael Hampton from CryptoTip.org.
And something was just brought to me about video games and the Trump administration. They have now proposed a 25% tariff on game consoles and board game imports.
Oh, come on.
Oh, wow. That's going to really irritate their base.
Right. It definitely is.
Oh, man, the Fortune nerds are going to be crying.
I have one thing to say to this. PC Master Race. This is why I play PC. Well, this is not why, but it's not going to affect me whatsoever because
That's why you play
PC.
games on PC.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what the politically correct master race was. I didn't.
It is the PC gamers. We are the politically correct master race.
Okay.
I do have a Switch, but those, as far as I'm aware, are manufactured and sold from Japan and not China. And in any event, I don't need another one, so I don't care. So trade politics between the U.S. and China may soon result in a 25% tariff affecting the video game and tabletop industries.
Is he just gonna slap a tariff on everything? I mean, is there no end to this?
It definitely seems like,
Well, he's clearly looking to escalate to the point where they change policy.
Yeah, but the problem is, like we've mentioned every time this has come up, the tariffs affect the price you pay. That money comes out of your pocket, not China's pocket.
That is absolutely true. The thing that does harm China is the lost sales. Just like, if your business was making less sales, you'd have less money. Yeah. So it does put some pressure on manufacturers in China, but then it also puts the same pressure on manufacturers in the United States.
Yeah, but the thing Trump hasn't figured out, and a lot of his base hasn't figured out yet, is that the U.S. is no longer the biggest market in the world. You've got the EU, you've got India coming up, even Africa is growing. They can sell this stuff elsewhere.
I'm not sure how many video game consoles they can sell to Africa, to be totally honest.
Not nearly as many as they sell in, like, Kentucky, but,
I doubt they sell very many in Kentucky either, to be clear.
Enough to send a container's worth every once in a while, I suppose.
That's true. So in a document published by the Office of the United States Trade Representative, the White House lists goods that are subject to new or revised tariffs up to 25%. I mean, I was busy, so I didn't join into the conversation. But ultimately, yeah, the idea here is that the consumers do pay the tariffs. And I don't think anyone of sane mind and body actually disputes that. However, these tariffs in the long run, they cause people to purchase less. And that puts the squeeze, in theory, on Chinese businesses. Now, I'm opposed to tariffs as a matter of just principle because I've read the candle makers petition.
Yes.
And I understood it. It's an absolute nonsense proposal that just because this thing can be manufactured and we can't compete with it, we must ban this thing or the imports of this thing. Or
can we read the candle makers petition like we did a news story, like we would a news story?
For the benefit of the Twitch listeners who've never heard of this before.
Isn't it kind of long? I mean, that's fine, I suppose.
I think it's a couple of pages, but I don't remember it being very long. You might want to check.
This is awesome stuff. So
no, it's not very long. Perfect. Okay, well, let's do this then because it's not like we have anything else in front of us. So, gentlemen, this is written from Bastiat. I've never attempted to pronounce his name before in my life.
Bastiat?
Bastiat. Awesome. Frederick Bastiat, I believe.
He's French.
He wrote it to, I think, the British Parliament in regard to pretending to be from the manufacturers of candles, tapers, lanterns, sticks, street lamps, and all manner of things that produce light. Generally, as he writes, everything connected with lighting. He says, gentlemen, you are on the right track. You reject abstract theories and have little regard for abundance and low prices. You concern yourselves mainly with the fate of the producer. You wish to free him from foreign competition, that is, to reserve the domestic market for domestic industry. We come to offer you a wonderful opportunity for your, what shall we call it, your theory. No, nothing is more deceptive than theory. Your doctrine, your system, your principle. But you dislike doctrines. You have a horror of systems. As for principles, you deny that there are any in political economy. Therefore, we shall call it your practice without theory and without principle. God, he's such a great writer, so bloodthirsty.
Oh, he is.
We are suffering from the ruinous competition of a rival who apparently works under conditions so far superior to our own for the production of light that he is flooding the domestic market with it at an incredibly low price. For the moment he appears, our sales cease. All the consumers turn to him, and a branch of the French industry whose ramifications are innumerable is all at once reduced to complete stagnation. This rival, which is none other than the sun, is waging war on us so mercilessly, we suspect he is being stirred up against us by perfidious Albion. Okay, so he wrote it to the French Parliament, and he, blamed the British government for doing it. Particularly because Albion, the British Empire at the time, well, I don't think it was ever actually formally known that, but whatever. Particularly because he has for that haughty island a respect he does not show for us. We ask you to be so good as to pass a law requiring the closing of all windows, dormers, skylights, inside and outside shutters, curtains, casements, bullseyes, deadlights, and blinds, in short, all openings, holes, chinks, and fissures through which the light of the sun is wont to enter houses, to the detriment of the fair industries with which, we are proud to say, we have endowed the country, a country that cannot, without betraying ingratitude, abandon us today to an unequal combat.
Twist the knife.
Be good enough, honorable deputies, to take our request seriously and do not reject it without at least hearing the reasons we have to advance in its support. First, if you shut off as much as possible all access to natural light, and thereby create a need for artificial light, what industry in France will not ultimately be encouraged? If France consumes more tallow, there will have to be more cattle and sheep, and consequently, we shall see an increase in cleared fields, meat, wool, leather, and especially manure, the basis of all agricultural wealth. If France consumes more oil, we shall see an expansion in the cultivation of the poppy, the olive, and rapeseed. These rich yet soil-exhausting plants will come at just the right time to enable us to put to profitable use the increased fertility that the breeding of cattle will impart to the land. Our moors will be covered with resinous trees. Numerous swarms of bees will gather from our mountains the perfumed treasures that today waste their fragrance, like the flowers from which they emanate. Thus, there is not one branch of agriculture that would not undergo a great expansion. The same holds true of shipping. Thousands of vessels will engage in whaling, and in a short time we shall have a fleet capable of upholding the honor of France and of gratifying the patriotic aspirations of the undersigned petitioners. But what shall we say of the specialties of Parisian manufacture? Henceforth you will behold gilding, bronze, and crystal in candlesticks and lamps and chandeliers, sparkling in spacious emporia compared with which those of today are but stalls. It's going to continue on for a little bit more. He gets back to being biting and satirical rather than, this sort of muddling through. We'll be back in just a moment.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
North, an extremely vocal opponent of gay marriage, drew fire during his 2010 re-election campaign for saying that the legalization of gay marriage would lead to man-horse marriages. In one instance, he told the New Haven Register, quote, "It's a slippery slope. If we allow two men to marry, what's next? Men marrying horses?" But yesterday, North found himself at the center of a media firestorm when the New York Times published photos of North on what appears to be romantic outings with a horse. Gathered during the Times' 2-month investigation, the pictures show North in almost a dozen locations with the same 3-year-old mare. A former aide discovered links to numerous horse-related sites, including phillyfreaks.com and hothindquarters.com on North's work computer. The Times is accusing North of using federal funds to pay for luxurious trips, including a 3-night stay at the high-end Sueños stables in Catalonia, Spain last month. North released a statement yesterday claiming he only spent time with the horse twice while conducting research for his anti-gay marriage project.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And as always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you want clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And for all I know, we've got somebody sitting in said call-in lines because I haven't even looked at Discord today.
No, I haven't looked at it since, well, the first hour. So
I did look earlier in the day to see what chat I missed last night from Freer Talk Live. Some humorous chat.
Yeah, we got screenshotted. Or did you screenshot us?
What do you mean?
Well, the chat about us. I saw a screenshot talking about us on...
Yes, I tend to do that, especially when it's humorous. Like the whole Satanism thing, that was great. If you have not watched that episode of Freer Talk Live, you definitely should. It was great.
I
don't remember a lot of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you were pretty drunk, weren't you?
Not as drunk as this dude.
This dude was... Hey, I kept my stomach down and finished the show, so I don't know.
I didn't eat at all yesterday.
Oh, my.
That was why I got sick.
Okay.
It wasn't because of excessive alcohol consumption. It was because I was drinking alcohol and had not eaten at all since the previous day at whatever time it was I ate last. I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
because I was going to eat after Call to Freedom. Then, of course, I hung out for a while. And then I was like, okay, well, we're doing Freer Talk Live. I'll just eat after that. And then got drunk and never made it to the actual meal and then stopped being hungry altogether. So,
right.
You know how that goes.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
He was definitely drunker than I was, though. It was
I don't know. I was definitely drunk. That was the first time I've been drunk in probably years, literally.
I was also high, which is unusual for me. And it could have also been the combination of the two things on top of the empty stomach that caused me to be sick. I don't particularly know.
Yeah, that could be it.
But I do know that about 2 hours in, I was like, okay, I've got to go lay down. So I did that. And then a few minutes later, I was like, okay, I've got to let some stuff out. Yeah. And I did that.
Yeah. You needed to vent. I think it was good. Better out than in for that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was unwilling to stay in as well.
I don't blame it. It wasn't the right place for that stuff.
No, clearly it wasn't.
No, wait, vent? Do you mean vent on the radio or vent in the bathroom?
Off the porch, actually.
Off the porch? Oh, my.
Because I was laying down on the couch out here, right? And then Rich and Ian came out. And I had to start talking, and I moved a little bit, and whoop, nope, that was it.
Then the wine had to go back to nature.
It did. It went home.
Recycle.
There we go. I recycled. That's all.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of drunk bugs now as a result of your generosity.
Well, I hope they're having a good day.
Yeah.
So anyway, there is no needy resin collector on the heights of his sand dunes. No poor miner in the depths of his black pit who will not receive higher wages and enjoy increased prosperity. It needs but a little reflection, gentlemen, to be convinced that there is perhaps not one Frenchman, from the wealthy stockholder of the Anzin Company to the humblest vendor of matches, whose condition would not be improved by the success of our petition. We anticipate your objections, but there is not a single one of them that you have not picked up from the musty old books of the advocates of free trade.
Those guys.
Yeah. Those evil devils wanting people to be free.
Oh, my God.
We defy
That's not a bad word.
It is, evidently. We defy you to utter a word against us that will not instantly rebound against yourselves and the principle behind all your policy, which is nothing, as he stated in the first paragraph. It is their practice without policy.
Without principle.
Will you tell us that, though we may gain by this protection, France will not gain at all because the consumer will bear the expense?
Yep, that's what happens.
We have our answer already. You no longer have the right to invoke the interests of the consumer. You have sacrificed him whenever you have found his interests opposed to those of the producer. You have done so in order to encourage industry and to increase employment. For the same reason, you ought to do it this time as well. Indeed, you yourselves have anticipated this objection. When told that the consumer has a stake in the free entry of iron, coal, sesame, wheat, and textiles, yes, you reply, but the producer has a stake in their exclusion. Very well. Surely if consumers have a stake in the admission of natural light, producers have a stake in its interdiction. But you may still say the producer and the consumer are one and the same person. If the manufacturer profits by protection, He will make the farmer prosperous. Contrariwise, if agriculture is prosperous, it will open up markets for manufactured goods. Very well. If you grant us a monopoly over the production of lighting during the day, first of all, we shall buy large quantities of tallow, charcoal, oil, resin, and all kinds of other stuff I'm not going to list to supply our industry. And moreover, we and our numerous suppliers, having become rich, will consume a great deal and spread prosperity into all realms of domestic industry. That's essentially what we're expected to believe that these tariffs are going to do in regard to China. They're going to make Chinese goods so expensive that it becomes more efficient to produce them here in the United States, which will create jobs, which in turn will give people money and cause them to consume more, which in turn will cause that money to go into the heads of our producers, who will then produce more. It sounds great.
It sounds great, but no, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work at all.
And this guy Bastiat saw that 150 years ago.
Yeah.
Ultimately, all we're doing here is raising prices on consumer goods. That's really the extent of it.
No,
okay.
That'll slow the economy down.
Yeah, so the washing machines, the video game consoles, all of this other stuff, it simply becomes 25% more expensive. And this may or may not make it cheaper to produce them in the United States. But what you have to remember is that there's still a rather large percentage there that's going to be the price increase versus what it was in China. To keep the number simple, let's say it was $400 to buy an Xbox One from China. This 25% tariff is going to make it $500.
Yep.
Well, maybe it's true that you can produce an Xbox One in the United States, charge $500, pay all of the employees, and still make a profit. I don't know if that's true or false, but that price of $500, it's going to remain on that Xbox One, even if it's produced here. It has to. That's how we made it competitive. That's the only way we can afford it in the first place. It's essentially putting a price floor on goods that we can buy. And that obviously is going to create a surplus of those goods because people are going to buy them less.
Yeah, that's going to put a ceiling on the demand.
Yeah, you have to allow these things to flow, to develop organically in a free market, not interfere with them and try to fix the messes that the government's caused in the first place. Now, the government shouldn't be involved. If there's some Chinese manufacturer making Xbox Ones, I don't see why any government is involved in that. Walmart calls up the manufacturer, orders some number of them, and that manufacturer, that Chinese company, sends them over. I don't see what the problem is. Why is any government getting involved in this? This is a issue between two businesses, and it should be treated that way. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of this in just a moment.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the
problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey, y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now, here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now, they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. I'd like to invite you to check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook by using @The Call to Freedom, on the Liberating server of Mastodon by using @The Call to Freedom as well. On Twitter, you can find us by using @CTF_LRN. I hate it, but there's nothing we can do about it. You can talk to us directly on Discord by using discord.lrn.fm. And lastly, you can communicate directly with me on Patreon at patreon.com/call to freedom. So we've been talking about the idiocy of tariffs and interventions in free trade as committed by various governments, and how they so often backfire and don't do the thing that they're supposed to do, which isn't really an issue. You know, politically, it's not an issue for a thing to not do what it's supposed to do, as long as they believe they did it for noble or just reasons.
Yeah, all you have to do is have good intentions, and it doesn't matter how bad the results are.
Yeah, we see this in regard to the minimum wage being increased, and everybody being like, oh, you know, this is going to be such a great thing for people. We have to increase the minimum wage. It's going to make people so much more prosperous. Oh, look, Bob got fired from his dishwashing job.
How about you take some money out of circulation and make it more valuable?
Well,
isn't that a good way to increase the minimum wage?
You know, I just don't believe it anymore when they say they have good intentions, because we've had so much experience with the results that they should already know that their proposal is not going to work.
If Congress believes that the results of their policies will be other than the disasters that they invariably are, then they're so dangerously stupid they needed to be taken out of the gene pool. If, however, they're so horribly evil that they actually intend the consequences they get, then they're just so evil they need to be taken out of the gene pool.
Either way, they're
horrific.
unfit to serve in Congress.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't tell whether they're stupid or evil, but they're definitely one of the two.
Yeah. Either way, though, they like I said, they should not be there.
Absolutely not. And the amazing thing is, I mean, with leftists, it's like I'll be like, I will send you a copy of Economics in One Lesson. I will send you a copy of iPencil even, which is another thing that I'm going to have to put on my show prep list.
Yeah,
what the hell is iPencil?
You haven't heard iPencil?
It's like a short story. It's like 5 pages or something. It was written in the 50s by Leonard Red. You can actually find a free copy online. I think it's on.
I think you guys forget how young I am. I assumed it was an iOS app. Like, I'm not even kidding.
No, it's just a little short story about how a pencil is made, and no one person can actually possibly build a pencil, all on their own. You need like thousands of other people cooperating, like cutting down the trees, logging, cutting the wood, getting the charcoal, whatever, the eraser. Just everything that goes into a pencil has to be done by all sorts of different people.
Fascinating. I guess that's true. I've never given it much thought.
It couldn't be centrally planned.
Right. It talks about how the price system basically coordinates all of this activity between people who not only don't know each other, they might hate each other, but still they're able to cooperate in building this pencil, even though, only a few of them actually know it's a pencil they're making.
Interesting. Well, to get back to the candlemaker's petition, will you say that the light of the sun is a gratuitous gift of nature, and that to reject such gifts would be to reject wealth itself under the pretext of encouraging the means of acquiring it? But if you take this position, you strike a mortal blow at your own policy. Remember that up to now you have always excluded foreign goods because and in proportion as they approximate gratuitous gifts. You have only half as good a reason for complying with the demands of other monopolists as you have for granting our petition, which is in complete accord with your established policy. And to reject our demands precisely because they are better founded than anyone else's would be tantamount to accepting the equation plus x plus equals negative. In other words, positive times positive equals negative. That's kind of hard. Okay. Anyway, in other words, it would be to heap absurdity upon absurdity.
It works if you're working with imaginary numbers.
It does. I mean, that's how we have a square root of 2. But labor and nature collaborate in varying proportions depending upon the country and the climate, and in production of a commodity. I'm being told that I skipped a lot of it. I don't know. I've been going just sort of straight down. I don't believe we've skipped anything. If there's anything missing, then it's because it's missing from Bastiat.org.
Oops.
Which I can't do anything about.
That would be embarrassing for them.
Call the webmaster.
It would
email.
be. So, labor and nature collaborate in varying proportions depending upon the country and the climate in the production of a commodity. The part that nature contributes is always free of charge. It is the part contributed by human labor that constitutes value and is paid for. If an orange from Lisbon sells for half the price of an orange from Paris, it is because the natural heat of the sun, which is, of course, free of charge, does for the former what the latter owes to artificial heating, which necessarily has to be paid for in the market. That's sort of simplistic. I mean, there are plenty of reasons that...
It is simplistic, but it does kind of illustrate a point.
Well,
I think is what he's getting at.
He's not trying to enumerate all of the variables involved in the price of things from one place versus things from another place. I think he's just laying out an example.
This one issue.
Fair points. Thus, when an orange reaches us from Portugal, one can say that it is given to us half free of charge, or in other words, at half price as compared with those from Paris. Now, it is precisely on the basis of its being semi-gratuitous that you maintain it should be barred. You ask, how can French labor withstand the competition of foreign labor when the former has to do all the work, whereas the latter has to do only half, the sun taking care of the rest? But if the fact that a product is half free of charge leads you to exclude it from competition, how can its being totally free of charge induce you to admit it into competition? Either you are not consistent, which, that's generally true of politicians, or you should, after excluding what is half free of charge is harmful to our domestic industry, exclude what is totally gratuitous with all the more reason and with twice the zeal.
Yeah, go for it.
To take another example, when a product comes to us from abroad, and when we can acquire it for less labor than if we produced it ourselves, the difference is a gratuitous gift that is conferred upon us. Well, it's certainly a positive thing if I can buy a Xbox One from China cheaper than I would be able to if it was produced in the United States.
Exactly.
I don't see why that's a problem. I really, my brain just doesn't work in that direction.
It's not a problem at all.
Well, they seem to think it is. The size of the gift is proportionate to the extent of this difference. It is a quarter, a half, or 3/4 of the value of the product if the foreigner asks us only 3/4, 1/2, or 1/4 as high a price. It is as complete as it can be when the donor... let's back up for a second. It sounds like this is just a way of making domestic consumers profitable and wealthy at the expense of foreign ones. Well, not even at the expense, because they're getting wealthy too, because they're producing it and they're being paid to produce it.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone is getting wealthier. Everyone is getting more prosperous. Everyone has more goods. And the people of France or the United States in current times just happen to be able to purchase more goods, more resources, because they're paying a lower price. Because so many of them are imported from somewhere else. This enriches China, and it by definition enriches the person who is paying the lower price and therefore has more money to spend on other things.
Right.
Or to invest or whatever.
China just beats us on labor prices. Once labor prices equalize, that's fixed.
And evidently, people think this is a problem. I just can't see it as anything but a positive thing. This is the call to freedom.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin, but imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.FM.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, as always, broadcast from the Liberty Radio studio here in Keene, New Hampshire. Did you know that the Call to Freedom is available as a podcast? You might want to check it out. That's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. If you want to listen to the show without the commercials, there's also excerpts and clips and highlights and other fun things that you can listen to there, as well as the audio versions of Aria Uncensored back when I was doing that. And, all sorts of good little stuff. So go check that out. It's calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. Now, Michael, you have a story about this whole Satoshi nonsense and Craig Wright and Bitcoin SV, and evidently a pump and dump being done with it.
Yeah, they've been pumping SV for the last week or two. It's just gone through the roof.
So scammers, evidently, according to CoinDesk, have boosted the price of Bitcoin SV Wednesday by publishing a fake news alert purporting to show that BSV's creator is also Bitcoins. Now, for those who haven't followed this, what they did was they published a fake news alert purporting that Craig Wright is indeed Satoshi. Masquerading as the Chinese news site Coinbull, the bogus alert claimed that Craig Wright had transferred Bitcoin from the so-called Satoshi wallets to prove his identity. The result, a $60 boost in the Bitcoin SV price in less than 10 hours. Now, what percentage of the Bitcoin SV value is that?
Almost, it was what, 60 or 70 before? I don't even know.
Well, it looks like it went from about 140 per to about 180 per.
Oh my, that's ridiculous.
Or
it was sitting at
120.
like 65 or so for the last several months.
Really?
So it has been significantly pumped.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been rising for quite a while.
That's unfortunate for all of the people who dumped theirs as soon as they had it.
I don't know. I think if you dumped SV, you did the right thing.
Well, yeah, but you could do more of the right thing now.
Yeah.
If you
Waiting till now wouldn't have hurt.
I think I probably have some Bitcoin SV somewhere, but I really can't be bothered to find it because it wouldn't be enough for me to even bother with. Wright, who led the fork that created Bitcoin SV in November 2018, has maintained for years that he is Satoshi. Yeah, he's a lunatic. The anonymous architect of Bitcoin, but his claims continue to be met with widespread skepticism.
Of course they do.
Yeah, because he's not freaking Satoshi.
Yeah.
This fake news release is not going to help his case either. I mean, since this is obviously fake and the news is eventually going to get around, that this gain in price is eventually going to drop.
Certainly. I would recommend that the people who are holding Bitcoin SV in order to sell it at a later date or something like that should probably cash out now.
Yeah.
That's not
dump.
financial advice. For all I know, it's going to jump up to $4,000 in the next week, and you'll be looking at me going, oh, yeah, you advised me to sell, and, now I'm out significantly more money than I would have been if I hadn't listened to you. Well, then don't listen to me. I don't know what to tell you.
Make your own decision, but Craig Wright is a fraud, so...
He is absolutely a fraud. He's a lunatic. He is either dangerously insane, or he is playing a very complicated game attempting to draw out the real Satoshi.
4D chess?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the purpose of filing the copyright. And, I was giving him benefit of the doubt for a while, and then I read some of the statements that he made that were completely incompatible with anything Satoshi said or anything that was existent in his white paper. So I'm now convinced that he's definitely playing a game here.
I think so. Or, and I'm not putting this beyond the realm of possibility, he's just insane and he has convinced himself that he is Satoshi, which is shocking. I mean, it's shocking for anyone to take his claim seriously because it would take him all of 10 seconds to prove to the entire world beyond any doubt that he is Satoshi Nakamoto.
But he can't do that.
No, because he isn't Satoshi.
Well, of course, by the same
That's why he
token,
needs these fake press releases.
The real Satoshi could always spend a little Bitcoin and put a little message saying, beat honk honk or whatever.
My personal theory is Satoshi is dead.
See, there's a guy in prison who some people think is Satoshi, and that argument is actually not too bad. We've covered it on Free Talk.
I think it is because the guy ultimately became an FBI informer and all this other nonsense that was directly counter to the spirit of the early Bitcoin newsletters as written by Satoshi.
I would tend to agree, and for that reason, I hope that that's not the Satoshi, but a lot of people, bend when the rubber hits the road. So I can't say that's not in the realm of possibility.
My
How
best
many
guess
people
at Satoshi is the guy who died in 2013, whose estate is suing Craig Wright.
Yeah.
Why is see, that though is one of the things. Why is the estate suing?
Because apparently Craig Wright, the estate is claiming Craig Wright stole something on the order of 1 million Bitcoins from him.
Well, I think that's the Genesis block that we believe Craig Wright couldn't spend. They're suing for that, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't
saying
have
that this dead
guy
guy was involved in the creation of Bitcoin.
I don't know. But the news alert said that CSW, that's Craig something Wright, I don't know his middle name and I don't care, transferred 50,000 Bitcoin from the biggest Bitcoin wallet to Binance, which confirmed he is the real Satoshi.
No, didn't happen, and it doesn't work like that anyway.
No. As such, CZ, which is an exchange based in China, will relist BSV and make an official apology on Twitter. Now,
news agencies don't apologize without a court order, so yeah, I'd definitely not on it.
It saddens me to think that an official apology would come via Twitter. I don't like the amount of weight people are giving Twitter. That seems to be the case now, though, that, this politician tweeted a thing, it's serious business.
Yeah.
We have to issue an apology, we must go to Twitter. I mean, it's a very common statement in news articles. Blah, blah, took to Twitter. Blah, blah, took to Twitter. It's like, who freaking cares, man? So they basically stood on a street corner with a bunch of people who agree with them and shouted through a megaphone for a handful of people who already agree with them. Whoop-dee-doo.
Yeah, who cares?
The trick is easy and constantly used by many scams. All Chinese crypto media circulate the breaking news via picture as above in WeChat instead of a news link. So anybody can use the same theme template and Photoshop one, referring to the fake alert that said Craig Wright has proven that he was Satoshi. 50,000 Bitcoins, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
No, now is the days to be holding 50,000 Bitcoin.
Well, yeah.
CoinBull's announcement regarding recent malicious photoshopped image to impersonate CoinBull to spread rumors. Recently, we have received feedback from users that certain people had maliciously set out photoshopped CoinBull news alerts to spread rumors about Binance and Craig Wright, which had bad consequences. We remind our users again not to trust any rumors and not to spread any rumors. Bitcoin SV hit a $193 7-day high on the rumor and is leveling out at about $180 as of the time of writing.
Yeah, it's 178 right now.
So it's doing pretty well, for a crap coin, a scam coin written by somebody who is a lunatic or a fraud.
A manure coin.
Yeah, there we go. I'm surprised it's doing as well as it is. Of course, it's still being stomped by Bitcoin Cash, which is not currently engaged in a pump and dump, but the value of which is likely to increase on June the 4th with the launch of local.bitcoin.com, which is a place where people can actually buy and sell Bitcoin Cash directly using a variety of payment methods. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. We've been needing this for a very long time because local Bitcoin, of course, only supports Bitcoin.
Yeah, which is kind of a mistake, but it's their mistake to make.
And people who routinely use local Bitcoin are constantly in the news being arrested for various things, so let's just get off this site altogether. Bitcoin sucks. Local Bitcoin keeps its information for far too long. And a lot of the people on there simply cannot be trusted, so let's solve all of those problems at once, ideally, with local.bitcoin.com, where you can buy and sell Bitcoin Cash. I can't wait to not have to flip into Bitcoin in order to get rid of it. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. There's more crypto news, more news in general, and we're going to get into it in just a moment.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,280, silver at $14.33, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,685. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, over the Memorial Day weekend, the Transportation Security Administration made an important update to its website. Activist Post reports hemp-derived CBD products may now be carried onto airplanes, but only under certain circumstances. The update has been needed after the 2018 Farm Bill legalized hemp and its derivatives federally. The lag in an update has likely confused users of both medical marijuana and CBD oil. It has been shown to aid users in treating anxiety, arthritis, pain, depression, and more, and is being used with increasing frequency to relieve pain associated with cancer and cancer treatment. Prior to the update, the TSA did not distinguish between marijuana and hemp-derived cannabis products, stipulating that cannabis products were not allowed in carry-on luggage or in checked baggage. While the website states that some CBD oil remains illegal and that TSA officers are required to report suspected violations, it adds that officers do not search for the substances, but may come across them during security screenings. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Atlanta's City Council has voted in favor of transforming over 7 acres of vacant property into the state of Georgia's first food forest. The measure, which paves the way for the largest food forest in the country, according to Councilwoman Carla Smith, was approved last Monday after a unanimous vote. The Anti-Media reports the urban food forest will be available free of charge and will include edible trees, shrubs, and vines, in addition to additional community garden beds, as well as walking trails, public gathering spaces, and other features. The land, which is currently owned by environmental agency, the Conservation Fund, will be sold to the City of Atlanta for more than $157,000. The agency was in possession of the land after it was abandoned due to a failed business venture. Atlanta's Department of Parks and Recreation will oversee the property, and Trees Atlanta will maintain the urban food forest. Trees Atlanta has secured more than $121,000 in funding and plans to employ 2 part-time workers, including a forest ranger and a community workforce educator. Israel, on Monday, fired a surface-to-surface missile against a military site in Syria. The attack killed a single Syrian soldier, wounded 2 others, and damaged a military vehicle. Israeli officials were unusually forthcoming about why they attacked. The Anti-Media reports they claimed an abnormal Syrian violation of Israeli sovereignty earlier in the day, in which a Syrian anti-aircraft system fired at an Israeli warplane. Israel insists the warplane was in northern Israeli airspace, and Syria has claimed it was aggression against them. The air defense system was reportedly the target of the Israeli missile attack. The indication is the warplane was on the fringe between the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and the Syrian side. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to a new report released this week by the Pew Research Center, a rising number of weak, emasculated men are working as stay-at-home dads, with a steadily increasing number of feeble, pathetic fayboys choosing to spend their days cooking, cleaning, and performing other submissive duties.
Well, our findings indicate that more and more pussified half-men are not going to work. and instead are embarrassing themselves by purchasing groceries, packing children's lunches, and denying all aspects of their masculinity on a daily basis.
The Onion spoke to one of these effete, pathetic excuses for men to get his response on the new report.
I love being able to stay home with Angela. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
What a f***ing pussy. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom. And as always, I'm your host, Ari DeMesso, author of Dancing in Hellfire, which you can find now on Amazon. If you'd like to check it out, you can also, as we mentioned, find it on the Pirate Bay, uploaded by yours truly. Joined as, well, not always as always, but joined in the studio by...
nobody formerly known as Rich Paul.
And usually joined by Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com, except when I'm sick and can't come in.
Well, it was still a fun show yesterday. So we've been talking about the trade war with the United States between the United States and China. Sorry, I'm very tired and I've got a very long night ahead of me. My brain is already shut off. I'm not sure my brain ever woke up today, which is fine because I don't have to do a lot of thinking.
Did you forget your energy drink?
No, I did forget my estradiol though. So at some point throughout the night, I'm going to have to get one of my coworkers to drop by the house to pick it up because I have to be at my other job at like 7:15, which is just barely enough time to drive there and get ready for work. Just barely. So China is ready to capitalize on its dominance as an exporter of rare earth minerals by cutting its exports to the United States. So because the United States has cut itself in an attempt to show China who's boss, the Chinese government has decided it's going to cut itself. That's ultimately what is going on here. We don't like the tariffs you put on us, so we're going to stop selling this thing to you, even though we're profiting by selling this thing to you.
Yeah, this is not going to end well for anybody. These never do.
No. Rare earths are a group of elements with unique properties that are used in cell phones, hybrid cars, and cancer treatment. They also play an important role in U.S. defense, from computers to aircraft engines. Well, if we stop being able to manufacture aircraft engines, the United States government will simply escalate this into an actual conflict.
Yeah, there'll be an actual shooting war over that.
Waging a trade war against China, the United States risks losing the supply of materials that are vital to sustaining its technological growth. The threat from Chinese media comes after the Trump administration raised tariffs on Chinese imports and moved to blacklist Chinese telecommunications company Huawei from buying American technology. It later issued the company a temporary general license. The People's Daily said that the U.S. is trying to contain China's technological advancements, but it has overlooked how intertwined the international supply chain has become. China has plenty of cards to play. I mean, to be fair, so does the United States government. That's why this is not going to end well. Both of them are just hell-bent on not reaching any sort of solution, but in proving that they have the biggest and most powerful sway.
Yeah, well, sway is not the word I was going to use. The word I was going to use I can't actually say on air, I think. But
Well, wieners?
Yeah, that word. It's just Trump waving his wiener.
Yeah, and well, China is waving theirs back. And that's why China is ultimately going to win, though, this trade war, because...
Bigger wieners?
Yeah,
not necessarily.
Trump's isn't that big, but...
I just I wasn't clear on what logic you were following there.
Well, the Chinese government has made an effort to use propaganda to convince its people that the United States started this, which may or may not be true. I don't particularly care who started it. That China is the victim here, and that the Chinese people are treating this like an attack on their interests, and that they will resist it just like they did the 1,000-mile march, or whatever they're calling it, or whatever it's called. Meanwhile, American farmers, the United States people who are being impacted by this, are not saying we're going to resist and overcome. We're going to rally together and we're going to ultimately come out on top. They're saying, no, we don't want this. We're not voting for Trump again. So the Chinese people in this regard, they have the spirit to continue this idiotic trade war. The American people clearly do not.
Yeah, this is not good. Everybody in America knows it's not good, and they don't want it.
But for years, China has led mining efforts of rare earth materials, becoming the world's largest producer because of its loose environmental restrictions and low processing costs. Between 2014 and 2017, the U.S. imported 80% of its rare earth compounds and metals from China. The estimated value of these compounds and metals imported last year reached $160 million, an increase from $137 million in 2017. So that's $160 million that the Chinese government is going to prohibit from coming into their country. What is supposed to be good about this?
Well, the thing about these rare earth metals is that you have to have some for every computer, every smartphone, every laptop, a lot of electronic devices. So
now a lot of these
and they're rare.
Lithium, and they're very rare.
Lithium, at least, is available in Africa, I know, and the lithium mining process is horrific. It very much involves slavery.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not necessarily, but there.
I mean, there is slavery involved in lithium mining. I don't know to what extent.
Everywhere that it's mined?
I don't know.
In some places?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know to the extent.
There's still a lot of slavery in Africa.
There is. And in South America, and even in the United States. We just don't call it slavery. But I mean, we call it the war on drugs. We do. It's not a coincidence that they made the loophole for slavery as part of the 16th Amendment, right? Or 19th Amendment, whatever
13th.
amendment. 13th. Well, see, I was going to keep throwing out amendments until I got it.
Just pick a number. We'll let you know when you hit it.
Yeah. For some arbitrary reason, it's not arbitrary that at the same time that they wrote in this exception for punishment for a crime, they made illegal all of these things that they could use to target black communities.
Yeah.
That's not a coincidence.
Just perpetuating slavery.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and me as well.
A severe shortage of rare earth metals would likely mean that the Defense Department would get first dibs for national security reasons. Yeah, I'm sure that's always the excuse.
Yeah, that's what they do.
But he calls the threat from China overblown, more disruptive than existential, and mostly the result of domestic nationalist media voices rather than a key tool in the toolkit in Beijing. He says the U.S. could potentially turn to itself, Australia, Brazil. Yeah, because we do have a lot of minerals, particularly in whatever mountain range that is, that typically divides the east from the west.
The Rockies?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. There's a lot of untapped minerals and stuff in there.
Yeah, but that'll be a lot more expensive to get to.
Well, yeah, because the costs of American labor are higher, which is why we started importing these things from China in the first place. And, of course, there's the environmental restrictions, but I don't think those are a particular concern to the Trump administration. And we can discuss whether or not they should be a concern. I really don't think they should be. I think that if humans destroy the environment, then that's just evidence that humanity wasn't meant to survive natural selection. But rare earths aren't actually all that rare, said Patrick Lozada, a director at some institute. They would be almost a negligible impact on national defense. Apparently, the U.S. military made up less than 5% of the country's overall consumption, according to a 2010 government report. It's unclear how much now the military consumes. And that was 2010, so I would say it may have doubled at the most, 10%. Because the United States, it does have a powerful military-industrial complex. I mean, that's like half of their budget, isn't it? Is just spent on the war machine?
Just about.
Yeah, depending on how you count it, well over half, I'd say.
Yeah, once you start including things like the VA and the costs when people actually get home, the tuition, when they actually pay for it, I'm sure it's significantly higher.
Unbudget defense plus all the wars. Yeah, it's crazy. $12 trillion they've spent just on Iraq and Afghanistan.
$12 trillion.
Yeah, that's like what we produce. Everything produced in America for a year is about 12
What
trillion.
could we do with
Actually,
$12 trillion?
A few years ago it was.
We could produce an entire year's worth of goods.
Yeah, instead of an entire year's
Yeah,
worth
we
of
could all
bombs?
just quit working for a year.
And we wonder,
You know.
and we wonder why the American economy is so broken.
Because the American government is so broken.
Priorities.
They are. Spending $12 trillion on an undeclared war that isn't even over, so that those numbers are just going to keep increasing.
And increasing.
Yeah, that's silly. But that's the state for you. We'll be back with more discussion. Don't go anywhere. This is The Call to Freedom.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
I just heard the best sales pitch I've heard in a long time on an airplane. The flight attendant announced, "If you paid more than $75 for your round-trip ticket, you overpaid." This is brilliant because everybody on the flight paid more, and I was struck by how all the road warriors stopped typing and reading and working and looked up. The announcement invited us to apply for the airline's credit card, and the sign-up bonus, enough frequent flyer miles for a free round trip. Talk about turning lemons into lemonade. With some banks offering free credit cards, $75 is an outrage for an annual fee, but a bargain for airline tickets. For more tips on communicating more effectively, hit survivalspeech.com, where you can see how I got the CEO of another major airline to shower me with freebies. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and as always, you're invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or if you want clearer quality, you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm, which I also just minimized again immediately before giving it out. Well, strangely, it refuses to not be on top. It refuses to not be a top window.
Oh, is it stuck at always on top?
It is, and I'm not in a position while on the air to actually deal with it. Apparently, they were playing bets. They were placing bets last night, wondering if I had decided I had had enough and ran off from the show.
Oh, did we win?
I don't know who won that bet. That's a good question. Synergistic Shift seems to have been there and involved in it. So I would like to know who won the bet. Now that they know what happened, was just that I got drunk and needed to lie down.
It's true.
Yeah, not much more to it than that. Sorry to disappoint you.
It was wine, demon wine.
Yeah, well, or the alcohol. Or the cannabis. One of the two, or a combination of the two. Either way, I just suddenly got very tired and was like, I'm gonna go lay down, and it was a good decision. I'm still very tired, but that was just from not sleeping well, and then waking up at like 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh God!
I did ultimately go back to sleep, but you know how that is. It's not restful when that happens.
Yeah, I know how that is.
So, other stuff going on. I don't have anything. Do either of you have a news story?
News story? What's that?
I don't know. There's so little happening in the news. We've already covered the dude who set himself on fire. There's like no information about that. We've beat the trade war to death. We covered the World Health Organization, and that's pretty much the extent of things that have happened today. Things that are in the news.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much.
There are tornadoes and all that kinds of things, but I mean, yeah.
If you live out in one of those areas, you've seen it pass already, but
absolutely. I not finding anything of interest, which is not really surprising because that's the kind of week it's been.
It is not very good. It's
there was local news with a children's furniture factory or something broken into here in Keene over the weekend.
I hadn't heard about this one.
And a lot of vandalism done to it. That was the extent to which I read the article because it wasn't really of interest to me.
Yeah, not a big issue type of. There weren't Nazi symbols or anything.
Nope. Well, the Dow drops as always, as one would expect from this idiotic trade war. Huawei is arguing that the congressional ban on its equipment is unconstitutional.
I'd love to see how far that goes. But then again, they do have lawyers, so they might be able to push it pretty far.
Well, one thing that's probably worth mentioning on the crypto front, we did a transfer of some Bitcoin.
This Bitcoin transaction.
And took us an hour to get that through, whereas Bitcoin Cash, seconds.
It also costs significantly more for me to send it.
Yeah.
It was lower than I
$1.
expected. It was a fair number of Bitcoin that I was sending. But relative to that, it ultimately was 1/3% that I had to pay in the transaction fee, which in my experience is very low for Bitcoin. I'm normally paying like 9% transaction fees.
Yeah, well, of course, it's going to depend on the size of the transaction, too, because
that's true.
You pay by the bit, not by the Satoshi.
I don't know. Yeah. I never got that deeply involved in it.
Oh, okay. Well, the way that works is the fee that you pay is a per byte fee, so you pay for the size of your actual transaction.
But wouldn't all Bitcoin transactions be the same size?
Not necessarily.
No, because you may have several inputs. Like say everybody else in this room sent you $5, and then you sent 15 or $5 worth, and you sent $15 worth to somebody else. Your transaction going out would contain 3 different hunks of Bitcoin, one from each of us, and it would just go out together. And then this guy's wallet would end up with 3 pieces of Bitcoin in it. that could be sent out separately thereafter.
Okay, I understand. Thanks for clarifying all of that. It's always been a confusing mess for me that I've just sort of rolled my eyes at, because as long as the wallets do what I want them to do, I don't particularly care about the underlying workings of that.
Right. And, normally you shouldn't have to unless you're, comparing different coins.
Right. So the more wallets it comes from, the higher the transaction fee ultimately would be, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, that would be why the fee was relatively low then, because it all came from a single wallet.
I would say that's part of the reason. And also, the fee per byte seems to be lower today than it has been the last couple of times I've looked, although I don't pay a lot of attention. I stay off that blockchain.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I prefer to. And the launching of local.bitcoin.com is certainly going to help with that. I will never have to actually touch Bitcoin again.
Yay.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
because right
absolutely.
now, the easiest way to convert cryptocurrency into fiat and vice versa, well, not vice versa, not if you live here in Keene, the easiest way is to use a Bitcoin ATM.
The easiest way to convert, I would say, to convert into cash in Keene is just post to Facebook like you did. It took you It was 2 minutes between you post and I answer.
Yeah. It was a total of 15 minutes before I posted this is no longer available.
Yeah.
But that's because I do live here in Keene, which makes it significantly easier to find people who are interested in purchasing cryptocurrency.
Which is why it's such a good idea to live in Keene, New Hampshire.
Certainly. You can also spend cryptocurrency here.
Yeah,
absolutely. From the head shop to the barbecue, to
there's local burger, auto repair.
Local
there's
burger,
a dentist. There's a dentist that takes Dash at least. I don't know if he takes Bitcoin. I assume he does.
My pot dealer takes Bitcoin.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. Yep.
Or Bitcoin Cash.
Convenient.
Yeah.
But following the launch of local.bitcoin.com, I can formally just get out of Bitcoin entirely. Because
that's just going to be next week, right?
Yes, June the 4th. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. Because currently, the easiest way to sell cryptocurrency is to send it to local Bitcoin, find somebody and sell it via that. That involves a number of transaction fees plus local Bitcoin's own little fee, none of which is actually high at the end of the day, but it's much higher than it is in regard to Bitcoin Cash.
Oh, yeah. The Bitcoin fees have made it pretty much unusable for day-to-day transactions like buying lunch.
Oh, absolutely. You wouldn't want to do that. Not unless you're willing to just pay an extra 1% or an extra 2% for the privilege of using cryptocurrencies. And, that's a valid approach in order to get people to use cryptocurrency.
Yeah. But use a different crypto, really.
Yeah. Use Dash or Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash. Any of those will do much better than Bitcoin, which no longer even really works as a currency. This is the call to freedom.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Free Talk Live.
I was a pedestrian and an asinine cop backed up and hit me and
Oh, God.
knocked me down to the ground. And I said, I think we need to call the police as I'm, screaming in pain. And he said, go ahead, I'm a cop too. And he left the scene of the accident.
Oh, wow.
So when the police and the ambulance and all the paramedics arrived to take me to the hospital because I have knee damage now and need knee replacements to both knees because of his actions. And I told him, I said, I'm a registered nurse. I work drug and alcohol rehab. This guy was drunk. I could see it. I could tell by his actions. He was drunk. And I said, I want a blood alcohol done on him. They knew who he was. They waited 6 hours to go to his home to arrest him. And of course, by then he had sobered up.
Sure.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, broadcast from the Liberty Radio studio here in Keene, New Hampshire, where you can actually use cryptocurrency in the real world. And, take part in that whole Free State Project thing. I don't know.
Or the Live Free or Die Project, whichever one.
Yeah, any of those work just fine. Come join us at Forkfest. I will be there from June the 13th through June the 17th. It's going to be great. I will not be sober most of the time. Sober generally connotating alcohol, but that's not what I mean. It's gonna be great. It's Forkfest.party for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come kick it with actual libertarians with no one actually being in charge. It's a nice little prelude.
It's like anarchy.
Forkfest. It is. It is exactly anarchy, and I think that's what makes it so appealing.
Yeah.
That we have this festival, so to speak, where no one's in charge, and yet there are events. No one's getting attacked. No one's getting hurt. Everyone's just having a good time, not hurting anyone, going about their lives. It's great. It's beautiful. It's exactly how the rest of the world would be if they could pull those sticks out of their asses.
Mm.
So, Rich, you brought in an interesting story.
Yeah, this is entitled Tim Berners-Lee Project Gives You More Control Over Web Data. Solid lets you decide where info resides and who can use it. And for those who don't know, Tim Berners-Lee was the guy who invented the HTTP protocol and pretty much the father of the World Wide Web. And the article reads, after incidents like Facebook's Cambridge Analytica scandal, it would be understandable if you felt your data wasn't really under your control. Web pioneer Tim Berners-Lee hopes to put that data back in your hands, and he's been collaborating with people at MIT and elsewhere on a startup, Inrupt, whose open source project Solid gives you the final say over personal info. You can decide where the data goes, who's allowed to see certain elements, which apps can access the data. You can peek at the same data with 2 different apps and share data with whoever you like. The technology is built on existing web formats, although developers will need to integrate Solid into their apps and sites. The first wave of apps is in development right now, Interrupt said.
I mean, wasn't this largely the point behind Horizon or previously Zencash? Was to allow people to take control of their information and commoditize it themselves rather than having Facebook and Google doing it for them and benefiting from it.
Wait, isn't Horizon a cryptocurrency?
Yes.
Are we talking about the same thing here?
We're talking about taking control of information, ultimately, right? Taking control of a person's own information.
It had a chat system built into it, but it didn't have a social media kind of... This is like a combination of...
well, Horizon does not either yet. But as I understand it, that was like one of the main reasons that they developed it in the first place.
Okay. Well, I don't know anything about that. I'd like to hear more.
Well, I don't have the information any longer. They used to sponsor the show, but I don't have it anymore in front of me. So I'm not sure exactly what it entails, but I do know they were working on a system that would allow people to monetize their own information.
Oh, groovy. Well, that's a good thing.
I don't think it's come to fruition yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's groovy. Okay. There's no certainty that Solid will see widespread adoption. Some internet companies may see data as one of their most prized possessions. They might not want to loosen control over that data and make it easier for you to switch to another service. My comment, if that's the case, then you should switch to another service. It's a start, though, in the combination of Berners-Lee influence and the standard-based tech might lead to a significant chunk of web adopting Solid, at least when it's convenient. And to me, it's not even so much a question of will existing companies adopt it as, will it be used by some of the up-and-coming companies that I hope are going to be replacing a lot of what we've got in the sphere. Because the whole idea that, like 5 companies can control most of the social media that you see every day, that's not how the web was designed at all.
No, and it's worse than that. It's not just the social media that a handful of companies control. It's everything on the internet is effectively controlled either by Facebook or by Google.
Or at least monitored by them, yeah. And that's...
I mean, it's scary, but Google, I would say that Google is more of a threat than Facebook simply because Google has planted itself as the gateway to the internet.
Yeah, Google is
almost
where you
everyone.
Start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they know everything about you.
They do. That's why I've always liked this idea of sort of having profiles that one can input whatever information they like into, fake information if they want, fake names and all of that, and use that profile that isn't actually attached to them in the real world, rather than, putting their actual personality out there into the browser for Google to, use its Google Chrome spyware to monitor and track.
Yeah.
But I mean, most people wouldn't go for it.
Most people wouldn't, but people who care about their data, you never know. It's like in the Silicon Valley, you know how they have the customer loyalty cards from all the supermarkets. Well, they'll all trade all of their discount cards with each other. So their purchases are still being tracked, but they're destroying the usefulness of the data because the card keeps passing from person to person. And, it's worth doing that. I don't like the idea of having some crazy ex who happens to work in a computer at an information company being able to, track me down and know everything about me.
It's a little frightening, but yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Does it happen?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I would just assume that Facebook and Google and these other companies would have some sort of safeguard to ensure that doesn't really happen.
You'd think, but I have heard stories about Google employees abusing their access to stalk people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they try to prevent it, but, who watches the watchers?
Right. Interesting. That's certainly dangerous. I mean, because a lot of if you're going to go through that length to stalk someone, that you're accessing their information via Google or Facebook or whatever, then you're kind of unhinged, and there's no telling what you might actually do next.
Yeah,
that's a scary thought.
It really is.
But there are a lot of crazy people out there. A lot of crazy exes, really, and whether or not they're an ex isn't really relevant if they're just that crazy.
Yep.
So
I just most of the times when somebody goes completely bonkers at somebody's ex.
That does seem to be the case more often than not. I mean, the kinds of people being attacked, most, I don't want to say most, but a large number of homicides are committed by exes. You have the cop who tried to hire a hitman to murder her ex.
Yep.
Which is totally insane stuff that we can't even pretend to be surprised about. The only part of that story that I found surprising was the cop didn't just arrest the guy and kill him on the way to the police station and say that she feared for her life.
Yeah, why didn't she just do it herself?
I mean, she is a cop. That's what they do. They murder people.
Well, apparently she didn't have the strength to make the final cut.
Well, luckily, no one made the final cut. She was busted trying to hire the hitman and ultimately sent, I think, to jail. Although, knowing the police state and its whole apparatus, she was probably just transferred to a different department.
Yeah. She might not even see any prison time.
No, probably won't. Which is a really light punishment, and which, according to research and studies, shows is more likely to increase bad behavior by police, which is obviously expected from anyone with a brain. If you don't punish extremely bad behavior, then you're not going to deter that bad behavior. And I've always been of the mind that rewarding positive behavior is more effective than punishing bad behavior.
Yeah.
But if you're going to have this justice system that is built upon vengeance and punishing bad behavior rather than one that's built on rewarding good behavior like a free market would, then you have to sort of actually go through in the process of punishing that bad behavior. And if it's not considered punishable bad behavior to attempt to hire a hitman to murder your ex, then I don't know what would qualify. That's pretty egregious as far as the immorality bells go. Ringing pretty loudly at that point. Yep. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with just a moment, so stay tuned.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up! We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well,
I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait on account. Now. Wait a minute.
Whoa!
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And if you regularly listen to the show and have been wondering how you can help and show your support, well, social media shares certainly go a long way, but so does cash. And you can do that on Patreon by using patreon.com/call-to-freedom. Our wonderful sponsors there are currently helping to keep the show up and running, including the podcast at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com. So if you would like to, contribute to that effort, we would certainly appreciate it. Again, that's Call to Freedom Live. That's patreon.com/call-to-freedom. So many URLs to keep track of in my head.
I know.
So we are actually called now by the creator who is watching via YouTube. Creator, what's on your mind?
Yo, what's on my mind is how my man Gandalf back there, yes, you sneezed and he didn't say bless you. Now, I'll tell you right, what separates a man from an animal is the manners that we have between each other. So I just want to call you out here and say, bro, what was that bless you? Huh?
Oh, bless your heart.
Well, to be fair, I sneezed and no one said God bless you. So why are you targeting?
But like Bold Barry back there, he's stoned. He doesn't see anything, bro. His eyes are practically closed half the time. But him, Gandalf, he knows what's up. He saw you, and he didn't say bless you. So if you could just say bless you on the mic, I'd be greatly appreciated.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the traditional blessing of the Church of the Invisible Hand. May the visible boot of government kick not in thy door, nor thy teeth, nor stomp upon thy face. Ramen.
Bro, I didn't ask for ramen noodles, but I'll pass. I'll take it. Better than nothing.
Well, don't speak ill of the flying spaghetti monster. He'll get you.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like something you believe in.
So you also had thoughts about the $12 trillion wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, correct?
Yeah, man. Yeah, where'd you get these numbers from? 12 trillion? You joking?
I don't have the... Yeah, oh, yeah, it's quite a lot. I don't have the numbers in front of me at the moment, but I'm pretty sure that's
in the browser history somewhere.
It's definitely one. It is a published number. Whether it's the correct number, nobody will ever know because it's very difficult to account for that sort of thing.
Yeah, true, I don't know if you've heard that the Pentagon's accounting is terrible.
What's that,
so,
caller?
We can account the war started in, like, technically it was declared in 2003 of when, like, the whole, like, thing broke out. So, like, that's when they would have started putting their money towards it. And, I mean, looking at recent calculations from July, like, during 2013, since the war was declared ended in 2011, it was $10.5 trillion were existing throughout the world globally. So, like, 12, you know, you've added an extra $2 trillion there somehow. I don't know, man.
Well, I
Look,
don't
that's not
think
even
they're
what I'm
paying in
about. That's just how
cash.
much.
Yeah, that can't
I think they're paying
Oh, no,
in bank balances.
Yeah, that can't exactly be
Well, yeah.
the case because the United States government has racked up like a 20-something trillion dollar debt.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that cash exists. The amount of cash that exists compared to like M2.
Right. I mean, by
which is-
definition, all of
yeah.
that cash doesn't exist. I mean, that's how
Right.
the fractional reserve system works.
Yes,
But that doesn't
numbers in the computer.
That doesn't prevent the cost from being there.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's true. I guess, you got to point that. But, like,
You are
looking
correct.
at
The
actual,
numbers
like,
I'm seeing here
budget,
while pulling it up is about $5.6 trillion.
yeah,
not
that's 12
12
what
trillion.
I read as well.
Well,
yeah.
the
5.6 trillion is what I was about to say.
that's a number of direct costs, but then when you factor in continuing care for wounded vets, when you factor in death benefits that are going to be paid by the VA, $1 trillion here and $1 trillion there, pretty soon you're talking about real money.
Yep.
I mean, what, you expect them to pay back 12 trillion with only 10 trillion currently being there?
Well, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to load up B-52s with cash and fly over China to drop to pay the debt. I'm sure they'll send them a check, which doesn't require more paper money.
Or they'll
So
send them a
what's with
bomb.
What's with the hate then?
But hey,
on Bitcoin?
thank you so much for the call and the correction, because you are correct. The numbers actually released by the government don't appear to go as high as $12 trillion.
No, and nor do they count the long-term costs of the war.
No, I would be surprised if they did. I mean, all of
Right.
it is a way of obfuscating how expensive the war actually is. When they lumped all of that together, I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that most of the cost of the war has actually been borne not directly related to combat in Iraq and Afghanistan.
It makes sense to me.
But I mean, there are 6,000 veteran suicides a year since 2008. That's, what is that, about 11 years now?
Well, I've
where's the
actually got
memorial
a
for
got a
them?
brief story if you got a sec. Routers.com World News is reporting Iraq war costs U.S. more than that's not the one I was looking for. Never mind. Go ahead.
It happens. The 6,000 veteran suicides each year, I mean, that's going to be expensive as well. And I sincerely doubt that it's being included as a part of the cost of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
No, it's not.
Even though it certainly should be.
There wasn't even a memorial to them on Memorial Day.
No, and even if you, screw them. They were the idiots who enlisted and got themselves traumatized until they killed themselves. I mean, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I'm not going to shed a single tear over these idiots.
You can't put all the blame on them because these kids were indoctrinated from birth by the state to be willing slaves and sacrifices to the war machine.
Yeah, so were we. And yet we didn't do it. We didn't go murder brown kids for profit and then come back and kill ourselves because we were too traumatized by what we had done.
Well, no, I actually did join the Navy when I was 25, but they kicked me out during DEP. Interestingly enough, they kicked me out because I hadn't had a drink in 7 years.
Interesting. That's not to say that I'm glad the veterans have committed suicide.
No.
I'm neutral on the matter, to be clear. I'm not sad about it. I'm also not happy about it. It sucks. Human beings killed themselves. In the humanist sense, I can look at that and regret it. But the reasons for their suicides were ultimately 100% self-caused. So I can't feel too badly about it, is ultimately what I'm saying. But, those 6,000 deaths, that's a lot of productivity being lost here in the United States. That's a lot of people who could be hardworking, productive people, and instead who are just dead.
Yeah.
And it's, again, because of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars that is the case. Obviously, you can't include those potential losses in with how much the Iraq and Afghanistan wars have cost. But there's a huge human element to it as well. The last time I saw hard numbers, there was something like 150,000 Iraqi civilian murders in Iraq since our invasion. I've heard numbers as high as 1 million. I don't know how many of those are true. I think erring on the safe side, it's probably at least 150,000 dead civilians as a result of the United States invasion.
Yeah, it's probably significantly more.
I would be shocked if it was less than 500,000.
So I think ultimately, when we talk about the cost of war, we shouldn't even mention the dollar figures involved, because they should probably be irrelevant.
They should be measured in human lives.
Yeah. So the ultimate cost of the war in Iraq is at least 150,000 lives. That to me is a far better measurement and a far better indicator of the actual horror of war.
Those aren't Americans. They don't count.
Well, I mean, 280 Americans were killed.
280?
Prior to the declaration of success or victory or whatever that they did.
Oh, the one they did in 2003?
Yeah, that's
the mission accomplished thing with Bush? Because there have been thousands killed by now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there have been plenty of people killed by these wars, and I think that's a much more human element to focus on than how much it's costing our wallets. Let's talk about how much it cost humanity.
Well, of course, cost to wallets also cost lives, because there's people in the world dying of poverty, and the more we waste, the less there is.
Right, like many of these people live on like $600 a year, right?
Right.
Imagine how far $12 trillion would actually go to improve their lives.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that we need to be taxed and have that money turned over to these people in Zimbabwe or wherever who live on such lower incomes. But if we're going to be taxed and the government is going to steal from us and spend that money, then the least objectionable ways to use it that I can think of is to actually help poor people, no strings attached. Don't pull the IMF crap and be like, oh, yeah, you can totally pay this back in 10 years, or 10 years from now, you can sell your water companies to us, your electric companies to us, and you can let American companies come in and mine all the minerals. Rather than doing that, I would rather see something like, okay, here's $1 trillion. Have fun. Good luck. Improve your conditions. Be a human being. Enjoy a dignified existence. But I would rather see taxes repealed altogether.
I'll drink to that.
Because it's nothing more than theft. This has been Call to Freedom, but don't go anywhere, because Free Talk Live is coming up in just a moment.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs